You admit that your relationship with Julie Devlin was an acrimonious one, don't you?
Yes.
But you were roommates in the Scanlon house, correct?
Well, it was a big house.
You don't live there anymore, do you?
No.
When did you move out?
June of this year.
And why did you leave?
Because my roommates and I had a disagreement.
Now, isn't it true that on May 22nd, 1998, Julie was the victim of a morphine overdose?
Yes.
And the morphine had been mixed into the water in her sports bottle, isn't that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Do you have access to that bottle?
I never touched it.
That isn't the question. Did you have access to it?
Well, I suppose I did, but I never went near it.
Wasn't an empty bottle of morphine found in your medical bag after the attack on Julie?
Yes.
Dr. Lambert, did you move out of the Scanlon house because you were accused of planting that morphine in Julie Devlin's sports bottle?
Yes.
Is it common for a doctor to carry morphine in a medical bag?
No, it's not common, but...
But it was in your bag, correct?
Yes.
And you had access to Julie Devlin's sports bottle,
I
correct?
didn't put anything...
Yes or no?
Yes.
Hey, applesauce, how your eyes feeling?
They're fine. I'm fine. Everything's fine.
Come on, can't I be concerned about my little daughter?
I don't want you to be worried. That's all, okay? When are you coming back?
Just as soon as I get finished with court here. Are you staying out of trouble?
Yes, Lucy's telling me the story of the mommy alligators and her baby.
Is Lucy there?
She's getting me some frozen yogurt.
Are you by yourself?
I'm here with Dirty Kitty and Ellie the elephant. Have you seen Eve?
Yeah. She said to say hello to you.
Well, if you see her again, would you tell her that her girlfriend said hi? And maybe could you ask her to come and visit me?
You bet. You bet. Okay, so I'll see you in a little while.
See you later, alligator.
After a while, crocodile. Bye.
Scott?
Lee brought you to back him up.
No. I came to convince you to tell the truth.
Dr. Lambert, are you aware that fibers from the rope that was used to kill Jake Marshak were found in your suitcase?
That's what Detective Garcia told me.
Any idea how they got there?
I handled some rope the night of the nurses' ball, and I suppose it's possible I may have picked up some fibers from that particular rope. But I think it's more likely that someone planted that evidence.
Isn't it true you handled that rope when you hung Jake?
Objection.
No, wait. I want to answer that, please. I did not kill Jake Marshak. He was my friend.
I see. Now, are you acquainted with Lucy Coe?
Yes, I am.
Miss Coe and you have been enemies for some time now, haven't you?
Well, we don't do lunch.
A simple yes or no will do.
Yes.
And isn't this antagonism the result of Miss Coe exposing you as a former prostitute?
Objection, Your Honor. Miss Lambert's former occupation is irrelevant.
Your Honor, this question points to motive.
Overruled. You will answer the question, Dr. Lambert.
There was antagonism before the incident, mostly on her part.
But you were still angry with her for exposing your secret, weren't you?
Yes, I was.
Now, have you ever been to Martino's Cleaners on Front Street?
I don't remember.
Well, an employee recalls you coming in on June 10th, 1998, with a receipt for Miss Coe's laundry.
Yes.
And did you later return to the Cleaners with Miss Coe's clothes, claiming they'd been taken by mistake?
Yes, I did.
Uh-huh. And what'd you do with those clothes when you had them?
I altered them.
To what end?
It was a joke. I didn't...
You altered the dress so Miss Coe would fear that she was being suffocated when she wore them, correct?
Yes.
The same way her character died in general homicide.
It was a prank. I never
You believe
meant
conning someone into thinking they're being murdered is funny?
No.
You ever seen this button?
No.
This receipt details items that you took from the cleaners. And among the items listed, do you see a notation for a man's cashmere jacket?
Yes.
Well, that jacket belongs to the author of General Homicide, Kevin Collins. Let me show it to you. You recognize this?
No.
I'd like to admit this into evidence, Your Honor. And if the jury would take a close look, you'll see that a button is missing.
Objection. This line of questioning is going nowhere.
Overruled. Continue, counsel.
Now, if you took this coat home from the cleaners, you would have ample opportunity to remove the button, wouldn't you agree?
I guess so,
The
but...
button missing from this coat was found in Matt Harmon's bathroom the day he was nearly electrocuted to death. Can you explain that, Dr. Lambert?
No, I can't. Matt, you've got to believe me. This is ridiculous. I didn't do it,
Order,
Matt.
order,
Matt.
order.
Come on, look at me.
Order,
I didn't
order,
do anything.
order,
I didn't do any of it, Matt. You've got to believe me,
Lambert,
please.
out of
I
order.
didn't do it, Matt.
Where did you move after you left the Scanlons?
I rent a room with Chris Ramsey.
Your roommate testified about finding a collection of mementos belonging to the murder victims in your closet. Are you familiar with them?
I never saw the shrine.
Are you aware that this shrine contained items belonging to the murder victims?
I heard about it, but like I said, I never saw it.
So you expect this jury to believe that you never noticed those things were in your closet?
It's the truth.
Is it also true that you and Dr. Devlin got into a fight the day he was killed?
No, but it is true that he hit me.
Were you alone when Dr. Devlin hit you?
No. I was with Dr. Chris Ramsey.
Dr. Ramsey was present when Dr. Devlin hit you.
Yes.
And you claim you and Dr. Ramsey were together when Dr. Devlin was murdered.
Yes.
You're positive?
Absolutely.
Look, you know that Eve's alibi for Devlin's murder is phony. Doesn't it worry you that if she has to lie about that alibi, she just might be guilty?
Gail, I appreciate your concern, okay? But we've already been over this.
You can dismiss me, Scotty, but you can't. You just have to deal with this situation.
Yeah, well, I know, okay? I was down in Florida dealing with situations. But right now, my daughter, she may get her eyesight back. So let's focus on that. Let's be, positive, okay?
And what could be more positive than making sure that Serena doesn't lose her father?
Well, she is not going to lose her father.
You know, you have no idea what that child went through, the torment, the pain she went through when she thought you were dead.
I was buried alive. I was trying to dig my way out of a tunnel down there to get back to my daughter.
Then how can you possibly think of being separated from her again?
Well, that's never going to happen.
If you go in there and lie for Eve, you could be sent to prison for perjury, as well as withholding evidence.
That's not going to happen.
Yes, well, you didn't think the plane was going to go down either, that you'd be fending off snakes and crocodiles and fires and whatever.
Alligators.
Well, whatever those things. They all happened.
Yes, they did. And here I am, right here, standing in front of you.
And I thank God you are. But now you have to decide whether defending Eve is worth risking your life with Serena.
I had filed charges of sexual harassment against Devlin. And during the hearing, I presented his former lover as a witness. She told a lot of dirty little secrets about him, and he was furious.
What happened then?
He pulled me into another room and went ballistic. Things escalated, and he punched me.
Did you do anything to provoke this assault?
I slapped him.
Why?
He learned that I had been a call girl and threatened to expose my past if I didn't drop the charges. And after everything that had happened, it was just too much, so I slapped him. And he returned the favor by punching me in the jaw.
What happened next?
Chris Ramsey pulled him away, and he brought me into the on-call room.
Now, did anyone see you there?
Yes, several people, including my attorney at the time.
However, none of those people saw Dr. Ramsey or you together until after the murder took place. Isn't that correct?
I don't recall.
It's very impressive. You and Dr. Ramsey have your alibi down word for word. You must have discussed it a great deal.
Well, wouldn't you if your ex-lover turned up dead the same day he punched you in the face?
I'm glad you find this amusing, Dr. Lambert. Now, the former attorney that you mentioned, is that Scott Baldwin?
Yes.
Now, Mr. Baldwin gave you a gold bracelet. You misplaced it the day of the murder. Is that true?
Yes, it is.
It also is correct that Mr. Baldwin found that bracelet next to Devlin's body?
You'll have to ask him.
Oh, I will. Now, Detective Garcia testified that he saw you throw that bracelet into the harbor.
I did not throw the bracelet into the harbor. It fell.
Well, maybe the good detective should have his eyes checked, huh?
Maybe.
Now, you say Mr. Baldwin saw Ramsey and you together after Devlin was killed.
Yes.
So if Scott Baldwin were to testify that you admitted to him that your alibi was phony, he would be lying.
Yes.
Excuse me, I didn't hear. Would you speak louder?
Yes, he would be lying.
So if Mr. Baldwin contradicts your story in court, you're accusing him of committing perjury.
I am not accusing him of anything.
Well, let me restate the question. Would Scott Baldwin be committing perjury if he testified that your alibi with Dr. Ramsey was false?
Yes.
I have no further questions for this witness at this time.
I'd like to ask you about your bracelet. Is it true that the clasp was broken?
Yes, it is.
And it could have easily fallen into the harbor?
That's exactly what happened.
In regard to the defendant's morphine overdose, did you put the empty morphine bottle in your medical bag?
No, I didn't. I had never seen it before that day.
Were you present when the bottle was discovered?
Yes.
And who discovered the bottle in your bag?
Julie Devlin.
Julie Devlin. Interesting. As a doctor, she would also have access to morphine. Isn't that correct?
Yes, it is.
So she could have easily planted the bottle in the bag herself.
Objection. Speculative and leading.
Sustained.
Did you have any reason to want the defendant dead?
No, none. We had our differences, but it was nothing worth killing over.
Did you ever consider murdering any of the 4 people we hope to find justice for in this trial?
I swear, I did not.
No further questions.
Anything more, Counselor?
I have nothing on redirect.
Your Honor, with Dr. Lambert's testimony concluded, I request my client be released from police custody.
So ordered. Dr. Lambert is free to go.
Well, Eve had opportunity. I mean, she could have been the one to steal that button and plant it in my bathroom.
She didn't get much of a chance to explain herself in there, though.
Well, Lee Baldwin is making the evidence against her so damning.
Lee is doing what any lawyer would do. He was using Eve to exonerate his own client.
You know, I've come here nearly every day to try to find out who's responsible for Grace and Jake and the others. I didn't want to believe that somebody I trusted could be responsible for their deaths and the attack on me. But it's looking more and more like that every day.
I realize it's unnerving, but let's reserve judgment until we've seen irrefutable evidence. And I don't believe we've seen that yet.
You know, I have realized for a long time that the killer could be someone that we know. But this is getting too close to home.
But let's not forget that someone tried to kill Eve after Julie was in jail.
Well, she was pushed in the morgue cooler. But that could have been somebody's idea of a
My
prank.
point is, the killer could still be out there.
Oh, hi.
Any news on Serena?
Waiting, saying a lot of Hail Marys.
We are too.
What's going on in there?
It's ugly. Eve's getting raked over the coals. She's in pretty deep.
Things just don't look good for her. Are you testifying soon?
Yes, once this recess is over.
A lot of people's lives are riding on your testimony, Scott.
I realize that, Kevin.
Hey, they're getting ready to start in there. You might want to take your seats.